Hello and welcome back to the channel where brilliant ideas meet a brutal calculation and every move tells a story. Today we are diving into an electrifying battle from the 2026 Bullet Chess Championship featuring two of the fastest and most creative players on the planet, Alireza Firouzja versus Nihal Sarin. Trust me, you do not want to miss this one. Alireza Firouzja is widely regarded as one of the most gifted attacking players of the modern era, known for his fearless sacrifices, lightning fast calculation, and creative play. He's been among the world's elites since his teenage years. And on the opposite side sits Nihal Sarin, India's bullet chess phenomenon, renowned for extraordinary speed, defensive precision, and resourcefulness under severe time pressure. Nihal has built a reputation as one of the strongest online bullet specialists in the world. Today's game perfectly showcases what happens when unstoppable aggression collides with ice cold defense. So let's jump into it. D4, D5, a classical beginning. Both players immediately fight for central control. Now C4, the queen's gambit. White offers the c pawn to distract a black center. Now E6, black declines the gambit. This keeps the center solid and prepares a smooth development. Knight to F3 and knight to F6. Both sides naturally develop. Everything is balanced. Now knight to C3 and bishop to E7. Black prepares kingside castling while avoiding early tactical tricks. Now bishop to G5 and knight B to D7. White pins the knight. Black calmly reinforces. Now E3 and kingside castling. Development continues. Black has completed the first important objective, that is king safety. Now c takes d5 and knight takes d5. The central tension disappears. Now both players prepare middle game plans. Bishop takes e7 and queen takes e7. White exchanges the bishop. Black happily centralizes the queen. Now knight takes d5 and e takes d5. Black accepts isolated looking pawn structure. However, notice that black gains an open e file, a strong central pawn, and active bishops. This is perfectly playable. Now bishop to d3, preparing for castling. C6. A very important move. Black stabilizes d5 while preparing future expansion. Now kingside castling and knight to f6. Development is complete. Now the real battle begins. Knight to e5. White jumps into the center. The knight eyes f7 and g6. Aggressive intentions are clear. Now knight to d7. Excellent defense. Rather than reacting emotionally, Nihal simply challenges the centralized knight. Now f4. Now white starts building a kingside attack. Everything points toward a black king. Now f6. Attacking the knight. Fantastic counterplay. Instead of waiting, black immediately asks the knight difficult questions. Now bishop takes h7 with a check. Here comes the famous Greek gift sacrifice. White sacrifices the bishop hoping for a mating attack. It looks beautiful, but the sacrifice only works if the attacking side has enough pieces ready. Here white simply does not have enough pieces. Now king takes h7. Nihal accepts instantly. No fear, no hesitation. Now queen to h5 check and king goes g8. Perfect king walk, no panic. Now knight to g6, threatening discovered attacks. Pressure increases. Now queen to e4. Outstanding defense. Instead of passive moves, black activates the queen while defending. This move is easy to miss in a bullet. Now f5. White keeps attacking. Everything is committed. Now queen takes e3 with a check. Counterattack rather than defending. Black attacks first. Excellent practical play. Now king to h1 and queen to h6. Queens are ready to trade. Exactly what the defender wants. Now queen to e2 and knight to b6. Black calmly develops. The attack is already fading. Now rook to f3, preparing for ideas like a rook to h3. White tries to swing the rook, still searching for mating chances. Now bishop to d7. More development, every move strengthens black. Now rook h3, attacking the queen. Now rook f to e8, counter-attacking the queen. The rook joins the defense, everything is coordinated. Now knight to e7, check. White sacrifices the knight, trying one final tactical shot. Now rook takes e7. Nihal calculates perfectly, no complications, simply captured. Now queen takes e7. White wins back material, looks dangerous. Now queen to g5, beautiful move. The queen immediately becomes active. White's attack is over. Now rook to g3, again attacking the queen. Now rook to e8, counter attack, excellent move. The rook attacks the queen. Tempo is everything in bullet. Queen takes e8 with a check. This is a force move. Now bishop takes e8. Now black enters a superior endgame. That is exactly what great defenders aim for. Now rook takes g5. White grabs another pawn, trying to stay alive. Now f takes g5. Black's structure becomes healthier. The bishop pair remains powerful. Now g4. White pushes, trying to create pass pawns. Now g6. Excellent technique, restrict everything. Now f takes g6 and bishop takes g6. Black's bishop becomes wonderfully active. Now king to g2 and bishop to e4 check. Activity over material, a recurring theme. King goes f2 and knight to c4. Now the knight joins, black's pieces dominate. Now b3, attacking the knight. Knight goes to d6. Centralization, every piece improves. Now king to e3 and king to f7. The king marches towards the center, classic endgame technique. Now rook to f1 check and king goes e7. No rush, everything remains under control. Now rook to f2 and knight to e8, preparing better squares. Now h3 and knight to f6. Knight returns stronger. Now rook to h2 and king to e6. King becomes increasingly active. Now king to f2 and b6, preparing queenside expansion. Now b4 and king to d6. Black improves again, no unnecessary risks. King to g3 and c5. Excellent breakthrough. This opens new weaknesses. Now b takes c5 and b takes c5. Black obtains an active pass pawn, exactly what endgames are about. D takes c5 with a check. Now king takes c5. The king captures. Now black's king is dominating. Now h4 and g takes h4 with a check. And king takes h4 and d4. The pass pawn begins its journey. This pawn becomes the game's hero. Now g5, attacking the knight. Now knight to d5. Everything supports promotion. Now king to g3 and d3. The pawn reaches the 6th rank, very dangerous. King to f2 and king to d4. The king escorts the pawn, beautiful coordination. Now king to e1 and king e3. Black completely dominates. Rook to h3 check and bishop to f3. Precise defense, no counterplay allowed. The knight joins the mating net. Now rook to h2, knight to f4 and rook to b2 and knight to g2 check. The king is forced backward. Now king goes f1 and knight to f4. Improving once again, no hurry. Now king to e1 and bishop to e2. A stunning final move. White resigns because black threatens knight to g2 check. While the passed d pawn is also ready to promote, white has no satisfactory defense. Even after the best try, rook takes e2 with a check. g6 and knight g2 checkmate is unavoidable. This is an elegant example of combining a promotion threat with a mating net. Let's check out the key turning points in this game. Bishop to h7 check. Greek gift sacrifice was premature. White lacked enough attacking pieces to justify it. This was on move 14. And on move 16, queen e4. A calm, resourceful defensive move that neutralized the attack while activating the queen. And queen takes e3 check on move 17. Instead of passively defending, black seized the initiative with a counterattack. And rook e8 on move 24, a tempo gaining move that forced favorable exchanges and steered the game into a winning endgame. And d4 on move 43, the pass pawn became black's defensive winning weapon. Now let's look at the lessons from the game. A sacrifice is only as good as the follow-up. Even beautiful ideas fail without enough attacking forces. When defending, look for active counterplay instead of making only passive defensive moves. When it comes to bullet chess, forcing moves, checks, captures and threats often decide the game. King activity wins endgames. Nihal's king became a fighting piece rather than hiding on the back rank. And pass pawns are powerful, but when combined with mating threats, they become nearly unstoppable. Let's look at what white missed. Launching the Greek gift sacrifice without sufficient attacking support was a mistake. Continuing to invest material after black had successfully consolidated, allowing the queens to be exchanged into an endgame where black's active pieces and healthier structure gave lasting advantages. Underestimating the strength of black's connected king, knight, bishop and pass pawn coordination. Now let's take a look at why Nihal won the game. His was calm defense under immense pressure, exceptional tactical awareness, active queen play, precise calculation in complications, seamless transition into a favorable endgame, outstanding king activity, perfect conversion with the passed d-pawn and mating threats. What a phenomenal display of defensive technique by Nihal Sarin against one of the world's fiercest attackers. By he absorbed the pressure, stuck back at exactly the right moment, and converted with flawless endgame precision. This game reminds us that great defense is not about surviving, it's about taking over the game. So, if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another masterclass. Until next time, keep calculating, keep improving, and I'll see you in the next game.